We've just received a report that New York City is under attack by swarms of killer bees.
L'histoire qui va suivre pourrait très bien être vraie.
Met you 20 years ago for Wu-Tang Forever, for the magazine Radical. It was like, oh,
Radical, I remember this magazine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right now you're together, you're the executive producer and you're the beat maker. And this album feels like a new Star Wars, like you give the Wu to a new generation.
Right.
But you're not the new generation. You were there from the beginning. Not a lot of people know that you're the guy who designed the Wu logo. Yeah, you're just like the guy who designed the swoosh.
Yeah, basically.
What's the story of that logo?
You know, my first interactions as far as what would become Wu-Tang, I started off DJing for the Genius.
The Genius, well, you see what I mean is she had to look as if she was attracted to me. So what I did, I reacted.
And at the time, he was on Cold Chillin' Records and Riz was on Tommy Boy Records.
As Prince Rakim.
That's right.
Oh, we love you, Rakim. 'Cause I love you all. Oh, we love you, Rakim. Thank you.
He knew I did graffiti, and he asked me to do his stickers, his first stickers. And instead of getting like his name on it, like Prince Rakim, he wanted Wu-Tang on it. You know, he had an idea already, so I was like, Wu-Tang, that's dope, you know, because I like the karate flicks and Wu-Tang is fat. And at the time, it was a slang that you know, that he had started out in Staten Island as well. Something was dope, it was Wu-Tang. So that's where it started at. And then it kind of grew at a certain point when, you know, we was deciding on trying to simplify it a little bit and just break it down to more of a symbol. And he was thinking, kind of protect your neck.
Baby, come on. Baby, come on. Baby, come on.
So I kind of just did a W with a hand sticking out of it, holding a head chopped off, had the blood, yeah, too much. So then we simplified it again. But this time what happened was RZA was getting, he was getting a few things printed up, and he needed it.
I needed a logo now for my company. I had to get my cards printed up, and I needed it in 24 hours, and I just wanted to have the W on a book with the sword underneath. He gave him a day, because you know, to do it. What you have to use to get the inspiration?
To get in the zone. I went to the store, and I got me a cold 40 ounce of Old English 800.
That's a famous beer.
We called it Old Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I bought me a Philly Dutch, because I smoked Phillies back then.
Philly blunts.
Yup, Philly blunt, yeah.
Cut it open.
Yup, I went to the weed spot on 121, got me some chocolate Thai.
Put it inside the blunt.
Then just start drawing, and that's what came.
Did you realize how much that logo has impacted a lot of generations? Because at the beginning, like when you were doing interview with the Wu, everybody was like, they had these crazy slangs, they are mysticals, they're talking about killer bees. They're talking about making grow plants all around the world. Right now, we can understand your metaphorics. We can understand all the inspiration that you gave. We can understand that you were like father figures for a lot of kids in the world. It took like 20 years to understand that, and to understand the vision that you had in the industry, the way that you were feeling in your heart that you were the next mainstream, you were the pop, and it was not the anti-pop, as everybody was saying. Right. Can you explain me, like, at this time, when you were broke, but when you had in your mind the idea of being the Wu-Tang?
Yeah, well, the idea was a vision that I had. When you have a vision, everybody can't see it, you know what I mean? But they have to have, you know, either faith in your vision or agree to follow your vision. I was very confident in knowing that Wu-Tang was going to be something special. I was very confident in knowing that that the knowledge of self was going to be important. It always been important to man, but I knew that it was contained within our music and contained within the ideology that we was going to put forth in our music. The funniest thing, I'll tell you a true story.
Let's go to the deep talk.
Just a quick deep thought. And you could go validate this with my other Wu brothers. So remember Wu brothers, remember the 5-year plan?
5-year plan to turn a loose collection of unknown artists into rap stars, each with the opportunity to launch solo careers, side projects, even movies. RZA's plan was brazen, elegant, and innovative, but it was also a secret. No one was allowed to know what exactly they were signing up for.
Everybody agreed to the 5-year plan that I would be the man to be the driver, and they would be passengers, and I'm gonna take them to #1. And in 5 years, we made it to #1. I then said it's gonna take about 20 years for this to peak out to what it's gonna be. And so when it peaks out, it's up to us to just peak and fall down, or we could peak and we could glide down. You know what I mean? That was my exact feeling of understanding of what we was doing, the inspiration that was inside of me at the time. Not saying that it was anything mythical or magical, you know what I mean? It was calculated, but it did come in a vision. It was a clear vision, understanding. So as we're now approaching the 25-year anniversary of Into the Wu-Tang, we are at that point right now, this could be the plunge, or it could be this nice, smooth, soft landing. Thanks to Mathematics with the Saga Continues and his dedication and him staying in his chamber while I explored many other chambers, there's actually an opportunity now to glide down. And if Ghostface does his job next on the 25th anniversary commemorative album, then everything will be beautifully as calculated and it'll be a better landing, but it has to land. Now, Wu-Tang is forever, but I'm talking about the physical vessel representation that we bring to it. So now that you see young people around the world who may have been inspired by us, same way we was inspired by those before us, they will continue to carry it on even if we don't. You know what I mean? I just want to share that with you, that sometimes people be like, yo, did you know, did you know, did you know? And people go, no, I didn't know, I actually knew. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did.
You know what I mean? I actually knew, you know what I mean? That's a blessing though. But knowing means nothing unless everybody agrees and move with the know. And there's always one amongst you who is the best knower. You know what I mean? And during the Wu-Tang history, as the abbot, I was the best knower, and I knew that the potential of what we was doing.
But I have a feeling with his vision. You tell me if it's true or not, that some people are yes men in the industry and they just want to climb, do a hit, and be famous. And you seem to be a no man at the beginning. Like they wanted you to be the next Will Smith. You said no. They wanted you on Tommy Boy. You said hell no. They wanted you to be the guy that we took from jail to make a success in the pop. You said no. We're here, no man. Does he say no a lot?
He was his own man. And he had a vision. He knew what he wanted to do. But I knew, like you said, I knew it was something special about it when I heard Protect Your Neck, when I heard Cream.
Figured out I went the wrong route, so I got with a sick tight click and went all out.
I heard Method Man. Knew it was something special about it, but he already had the vision. So by hearing that and knowing there's something special, it's like, wait, hold on, like you know, he might be on to something here. And then he's showing and proving every step of the way. It's like by setting deals that have never been set before. You know, to this day, you see the influence of his vision today with business as far as like a lot of the younger rappers and their crews.
But there is still something really special in this album, is like the sound. Is because to me, your beats on the first album is not only a way to produce, it's a frequency. Like you've reached a frequency that no one has reached in the way to make beats before. I don't know how do you, is it a good definition for you?
Yeah, it's a good, frequency is a perfect word.
And on your way to make beats, you have a new frequency. It's not about doing trap or doing not trap.
Right.
It's to find a new frequency to the Wu. Like, how did you talk about the way the beats should sound in this album?
Well, for me, 36 Chambers was actually a spark to it. It was at a time for me when I first began this album, I first originally began with making the tracks. You know, I felt there was a progression in it, you know? And I know RZA seen there was a progression in it too, because after we did A Better Tomorrow, he actually came to me, he said, I think you should produce the next Wu-Tang Clan album. I was like, I don't know about that, because I didn't think I was ready. And I seen what he had to deal with. So I was like, I don't know about that. So I kind of fell back from it. But he seen it in me already. And, you know, time passed and I was feeling a certain way. So I was like, I really want to do something with music, really express what I can do, because I see myself getting better. But I was like, I'm still not there yet. I really got buckled in. I said, in the buckle in, I have to distance myself from music. I had to step away from all music. But I took the liberty to listen to the final albums I was going to listen to. One of them was 36 Chambers. I put that in, I listened to it from beginning to end, and as I'm listening to it, I'm just zoning out off of the music, off of the production. And I'm studying, I'm taking notes, I'm studying it like mentally. Then when I finished that album, I put in Chronic 2001.
Some of that real sticky, icky. Ooh, wait. Put it in the air.
You know, my favorite two producers is RZA and Dr. Dre. So I listened to that album and I'm dissecting it and I'm taking notes. So when I finished listening to that album, I was like, I didn't heard enough. I didn't took my notes and I applied it to what I was doing. And the frequency is definitely a big part of it, because even like certain techniques I was doing to get a certain sound, because 36 Chambers had an authentic sound, but most of them sounds was coming off of the ASR 10.
Okay. Now, I love it. We're going to do some sampling.
And that was the first piece of equipment that I got when I started producing, because that was the equipment he was using when he was doing Cuban links. When he made Ice Cream, I got a chance to really see it from beginning to ending.
So what you want to do? What you want to do? Let's go ahead and walk these dogs and represent Wu.
And that drew me to production. So the first thing I did after standing there vibing off the beat, like, yo, you made that off of this right here? And he started breaking it down to me, gave me a quick crash course. So I went and copped the ASR 10. So making this album, I went back to the ASR 10, but I used it differently than I would normally use it. Like 20 years ago, I would have sampled into the ASR 10, I would have chopped up my samples or did whatever I do and make the whole beat inside the ASR 10.
Now you make them play.
Now I play the instruments, get them played, and I run them through the ASR 10. I use it as a bridge to get that certain sound that it has, the frequency, as you say. And then I bring it back out, and, you know, then I do my other 1-2s to it and put it together. So that was part of capturing the sound.
How do you explain something like back for Enter the Wu-Tang? Everybody was talking about the East Coast, West Coast. You had your album and the Chronic from Dr. Dre. Snoop was saying he was on a street knowledge mission.
Then we gon' freak to South Central on a street knowledge mission.
As I steps in the temple.
You're talking about street science. How do you explain that those two values appeared at the same times and nobody remembered that?
You know what? It's funny that you said that, because I had a chance to sit down with Snoop when I was doing the Man with the Iron Fist campaign. He was very similar to me. He was like, in a way, the Abbott of his crew. Some of the members of the Dogg Pound is his cousin. Like, some of the Wu-Tang is my cousin. And some of the things that they did, you know, the way they had to plug up their equipment or whatever. It was very similar. He was telling me stories that was the same thing I was saying. And so we actually have a very Kendrick spirit in all reality. Of course, we're bringing it from the New York side of things. In New York, in those days, you're able to walk down the streets and find book vendors with all kind of street knowledge and information. In the swap meets, in those days, you're able to also find, you know, street information and knowledge. I don't mean just, I'm talking about books like the ISIS paper, They Came Before Columbus,
Behold the
Pale Horse, the Keys of Enoch even, you know what I mean? You're getting all these books passing. And then for us in New York, we have mathematics, right? A law of mathematics, which is called living mathematics, which is giving us the knowledge of ourselves. We have the 12 jewels. The 12 jewels was one of the most important lessons that Wu-Tang absorbed and reapplied back to the world. I'm gonna tell you those real quick. The 12 jewels are knowledge, wisdom, understanding, freedom, justice, equality, food, clothing, shelter, love, peace, and happiness. These are the 12 things that every man must obtain for a proper life. So first you get your knowledge, wisdom, understanding. You know what's going on. You can see what's going on. You can speak and act upon what's going on. Then you go for your freedom, justice, and equality. But freedom must operate under the law of justice, because I'm free to smack you in the face, but now justice comes in. That's a reward or penalty for my acts or my deeds. So that keeps us all at what? Equality, because all men are created what? Equal. And then we strive for our food, clothing, and shelter. But if you have your food, clothing, and shelter, what's left? Love. And what's love without peace? And what's love and peace without happiness? So these type of things, you start hearing it infused in our music, in our way. You know what I mean? And we'll go about it. That's why we say we come in peace, prepared for war. You know what I mean? So 1 minute we're talking about our streets, but then Memphis like PLO style. We're seeing the struggles of the world as well, and we're seeing the struggles of our neighborhood. You know what I mean? Then you see groups like Killer Army come up out of us that's taking it to a military approach. Then you see groups like Sons of Man, who did a song with I Am.
I am Sons of Man, Wu-Tang Clan, about to take it to another chamber. From Medina to Marseille.
But they're taking it from a spiritual approach. They're going through the Bibles and the Apocrypha and the wisdom of Solomon. Our generation was meant to document this, you know what I mean? To leave those scriptures behind in lyrical form, you know what I mean? That eventually helped spread through the world. It got stopped, though. You got to say that hip hop changed and different vibes and energies came, and that's cool. But that's recorded. That's there now. And for anyone who wants to research, or even if they want to go back, you know, you think about our great artist, Biggie Smalls, and you hear one of his biggest songs, but it's a sample from PSK.
Eyes for the way it goes in and out, one by one I knock them out.
So you're seeing that it's coming from hip hop before it.
As for the way you scream and shout, one by one I'm knocking out.
And so it's always good to study your hip hop history. And we, as Wu-Tang Clan, we're proud to be part of the last 20 to 25 years of hip hop history. And we hope that we can inspire, you know, people for the next 20 to 25 years of history.
That's what this conversation reminds me. A track of the album is Why.
If I put my fist through the face of a racist, smack them cases where I face 3 cases in court, lock them braces off.
When you're thinking about the consequences, when you want to put your fist into the face of a racist.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, what's gonna happen if I do that? Sometimes you can't beat hardness with hardness. You have to put softness on hardness. You can't fight fire. They go fight fire with fire. No, then the whole building burns down. So we use water against fire.
That's like that dude I just seen, we was looking at, black guy went and talked to the KKK.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, and was getting them to give up their robes.
Hey Frank, how you doing, man?
Hey Gary.
Nice to meet you. My pleasure.
Here's my great Titan robe. You want me to put it on?
Yeah.
Because he just went and talked to him, like, and to find out what's the problem, like, you know, basically.
Right.
But they said Malcolm did the same thing, right?
Yeah, talking to, you know, sometimes it's a communication. You may think, you know, you come from Algeria, right? And I'm coming from Staten Island, and we may think that our two worlds are so different, And because my mother rose me up as a Christian, and maybe your mother rose you up as a Muslim, you started thinking that there's a difference between us because there was a crusade that happens 750 years ago that make everybody think that there's always a war between Christianity and Islam. But then when you look at it, there's no war, because when the Prophet Muhammad left Mecca for Medina, and his other 70 companions fled, they had to go to Abyssinia, which is also Ethiopia, and there was a Christian king there. And when they came amongst the Christian king, they was allowed to live and flourish there because the precepts was all the same. We're looking at our differences instead of our similarities. Not one person in this room didn't come out here unable to feed itself, unable to wipe his own booty, unable to not even walk. You know what I mean? Unable to not even reach over and scratch his head intentionally. You know what I mean? You're born, like Melly Mel said. He said, a child is born with no state of mind. He's blind to the ways of mankind.
A child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind.
And then as he grows, he's going through all the things. But we got to never forget that innocence of our birth. So I know we're talking hip hop, but that's always been part of the Wu, is to always, you know, find a way to rekindle those certain flames, not only to entertain you and make you dance, but to give you some information, as well as give you some roughness. Protect your neck too. Don't think that the non-Wu-Tang members won't come and break the whole place down as well.
Picture with 16 shots, more I got. Go on the war with the belt. It's the better man for sure, Mr. Best.
So all these different energies is contained within us.
Yesterday, I was listening like to all the Wu albums and all the solos, and
wow,
a lot of listening.
Yeah, it took a long. Yeah, it took a long. I listened to your album too. It took a long. Yeah, but you think about the yin and the yang every time. It's like when you did the first track of the Wu, like you took the rage to do a piece of art,
right.
to put the beauty. When you listen to Cream, this is the perfect mix between to take the rage to go and do the beauty. Do you remember the first session in studio?
I'll give you some history on that.